Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Newswave. I'm Devin Karp, and today is Friday, November 13th, 2020. Here are our top stories. Trinity University has offered COVID testing to all students on and off campus leading up to the Thanksgiving break. The university completed the testing from November 10th to November 12th. This will hopefully give tested students some time to use university resources to help them recover if they need to before they go home. The announcement of testing comes after a spike in on-campus cases after the fall break, peaking at 13 cases, most of which were symptomatic. Medical Director Jose Plata of Trinity's COVID-19 clinic stated that suddenly we have symptomatic cases. Almost all of our positives have been asymptomatic, but suddenly we're seeing symptomatic patients. Students who were not tested between the 10th and the 12th are encouraged to get tested at another location before returning home for the Thanksgiving break. With the holiday season approaching, many students are itching to have small parties and gathering with friends. However, recent spikes in cases among students in California may make you think twice about sending out those invites. Here's CNN with more.
With COVID-19 cases increasing this past week, San Luis Obispo County health officials are urging people to avoid large gatherings, especially with holidays just around the corner.
Throwing parties, getting all together, and I get it. Like, I want to do that too, but you just can't right now.
County Health Officer Dr. Penny Borenstein says although Cal Poly students are highly contributing to the number of cases, there are other factors.
We will see continued uptick in the coming days because of the nature of the congregate living that where we have seen cases both on and off campus.
She adds the health department is working closely with campus administration to do aggressive testing, case identification, isolation, and quarantine. Numbers show that students quarantining in place on campus has jumped drastically from 170 Wednesday to 438 a day later.
We do have reserves, if you will, of contact tracers. We're pulling them all in this weekend or today starting.
The uptick in cases could keep the county from moving into a less restrictive tier.
I want us to not slip back into purple, and I want us to continue to do all that we can collectively to move us forward from red. It may be some period of time given what we're seeing right now.
On November 2nd, the Trinity community was invited to provide feedback on a new policy exempting face masks for select students. The policy was proposed by Student Accessibility Services, who's concerned that wearing a face mask might be too difficult for some students with disabilities. Faculty, staff, and students are encouraged to provide feedback so that the policy may be potentially implemented for the spring 2021 semester. This new policy could potentially prompt reasonable modifications to the university's face covering policy for students. All feedback is due by November 16th. Danny Wen recently caught up with SAISD Superintendent Pedro Martinez. In case you missed this exclusive interview, here's another look.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very special interview on Newswave, Trinity University student news broadcast on campus station Tiger TV. My name is Danny Wen, class of 2024, and a proud alumnus of SAISD. And here with me today is the current superintendent of the San Antonio Independent School District, Superintendent Pedro Martinez. Mr. Superintendent, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Danny.
Alrighty, Mr. Superintendent. So COVID-19 has pushed people to quickly respond, to adapt, and to improve on many unprecedented changes to the way we work, we interact, and in this case, how we learn. So to you and to SISD, how has COVID-19 affected SISD in continuing its pursuit of giving students their best education possible? And what has SISD done to ensure that kids can go back to school in person in a safe and ensured manner?
Yeah, so first, one of the few things that have happened, as you know, the outbreak started after spring break, and it was very difficult because our district shut down, all the districts in the area had a shutdown, but we were able to distribute devices to all of our students. And so we've distributed over 40,000 devices. Our enrollment is about 48,000 children. So it was every student who needed them. We also got even iPads in addition to Chromebooks to the younger children. So I feel good that when we started this school year, everybody had a device. We distributed hotspots, over 10,000. And so we feel that there's been a digital divide in our community for decades. And so the one silver lining in this situation is that we've been able to partner with the city, the county, we've used our own resources, and we're now closing that divide in a very substantial way. The other thing we've done, Danny, is we trained our 3,200 teachers. They came in a week before their contract started, and they did this voluntarily, by the way. And they got trained on our new application systems, including Canvas, which is the learning management system we're using. It's used by most universities and colleges. So it just makes sense for us because our goal, of course, is to have as many of our children have opportunities beyond high school, especially in college. And so our teachers created over 1 million lesson plans. And we've been supporting them and training them all along. It's still a challenge. We started our district in 100% remote because it just wasn't safe. We're now, as we speak today, we're now in our 10th week. We have about 25% of our children right now that are coming in person. And we were hoping that we would allow more children. We've been phasing them in slowly, but unfortunately, it looks like conditions are not getting safer. In fact, today, our nation almost hit a record in COVID cases. San Antonio's still been stable, but it's right now we're capping our in-person instruction to 25% of our enrollment.
On a more positive note, and as such, during the coronavirus pandemic, we really want to think about the most positive things that we can. And what have you been most proud to see in the district and their employees?
So Danny, what I have seen is, first of all, our teachers have been amazing, and they for our children, and I'm seeing them, and some of them, by the way, they don't work till 10 o'clock at night, even though I tell them don't please, you need to rest, you need to take care of yourself, but they're so committed to reaching out to families, to talking to students, and for us, so that's one. I've just seen our staff, but our food service staff, when the pandemic started, we went to, we expanded to over 30 sites where they distributed 2 million meals between the spring break up to now, over 2 million meals to families. We created an SISD Eats program where our buses, and you can see that there's a sign, just like Uber Eats, where we deliver to apartment buildings in many parts of our district where families don't have cars, where they don't have the ability or don't feel safe to go outside. We partner with the city to, with our social workers and our counselors to make sure that any family who had COVID, we got them resources, financial resources, because we were worried about that maybe they're losing work, maybe they're in danger of being evicted. So I just been proud of the overall response that we've had, and everything we've seen from survey data, conversations with community leaders and staff. There's a certain amount of pride of how we reacted. And so even in this pandemic, I think one of the silver linings is that it's brought us together. It's brought us a lot closer together. And the only thing I'm doing now is I'm just reminding staff and our parents, let's play the long game. Let's not, this is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Hopefully it's a marathon that will hopefully only last this school year, but it is a marathon. And so that's our focus right now.
And as you know, pandemic or no pandemic, we all, as a business or as a person, we all try to progress and evolve and be better, improve. And to move on to different matters, so on the Bexar County ballot for this upcoming election is Bond 2020, which is the biggest SISD bond program in the last 2 decades with a record-breaking $1.3 billion. So what will this bond address if it's passed in this upcoming election?
So Danny, it's the biggest ballot question even for the city and county ever in the history. And so definitely in our history, it's the biggest. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that we're very blessed is that our tax base now, there's been enough investment in our community, including downtown, including on Broadway Street, that we can support these proposed bonds and any future bonds and not impact tax rates. So in other words, we can make sure that our taxpayers are not paying more taxes because of these bonds. And so for us, it's the most extensive bond ever. It would address 36 different facilities, including finishing out the high schools. By the way, Danny, you need to go to visit Brackenridge. We have about, I was just there not too long ago, and you can see, we're about to have staff switch from the old BRAC to the new BRAC with all the brand new classrooms. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, even the reception area looks completely different when you first enter. And so I want our families to go see them, but with this bond, we finish out the rest of BRAC. So in other words, with these current bonds that we have right now, the 2016 bond, they were too small to finish out all of the projects, including the high schools. And so with this 2020 bond that we're proposing, we finish out fields, gyms, we'd get any exterior buildings that are aside from the main campus. And so for us, it'll address that plus 21 projects, 21 facilities that have not been touched in at least 30 years. And so, it's a complete renovation. So they include schools like the Young Women's Leadership Academy, who is a very successful school, our all-girls school, and one of the best in the state and in the country, but yet they have a facility that is just does not reflect their academics. Or Graebner Elementary School, it's our largest elementary school, pre-K to 5, 900 children. It's a school that doesn't have any windows, I think, and it was built during that time, and BRAC was the same way, right? That they were built without windows. So they're complete renovations of these schools. The other thing it would take care of, Danny, is AC issues across our school. So any school who has an outdated AC system would get replaced. We'd also be providing us in a second ballot question, and they have to be separated by law, technology for every single school. So every classroom will be updated with smart boards, sound systems. Every classroom would have a dedicated set of devices that our children can take home, that their parents could use. So our goal is that now that we've been forced to distribute devices to everybody, every child going forward should always have a device. They should always be able to take it home, have internet access. And so that's our goal. So with these two ballot questions, we can accomplish that. So one is for facilities, 1.21 billion with a B. And then the technology ballot question for 90 million for a total of 1.3. And like I said, the goal is it will not impact your tax rates for any of our taxpayers.
Wow. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you to Superintendent Pedro Martinez of the San Antonio Independent School District for being here. To the Trinity community and beyond, stay safe and stay healthy. This is Danny Nguyen, Newswave 14 reporting.
A 54-year-old man is hospitalized and in serious condition after being struck by a moving vehicle while he was walking on the sidewalk at the intersection of Austin Highway and Perrin Beetle Road on Sunday morning. According to SAPD, the vehicle was traveling westbound on Austin Highway. That's when it swerved and hit the gentleman, throwing him 10 to 15 feet in the air. The driver has fled the scene and is still at large. Many schools have had to adjust to online learning in San Antonio. But our very own Andrew Jett looked into how COVID-19 has been affecting schools in the area.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed how schools around the world approach the education of their students. While some universities and large public schools have switched to partial or complete online learning, smaller schools have remained mostly unchanged for this school year. As reported by Tiger TV's Danny Nguyen, San Antonio ISD began the year entirely online. It is currently at a maximum of 25% of students attending in person. Maypearl Independent School District, on the other hand, has provided the option for face-to-face learning for every student, every day for the school year. Maypearl has also continued athletic competitions throughout the school year. Football and volleyball schedules have remained unchanged, including homecoming parades and pep rallies. The school has limited how many fans can be in attendance to 50%, and set forth guidelines that groups should wear masks and maintain social distancing. The school has also implemented some in-class preventative policies. Students, staff, and visitors are required to self-screen at home before coming to the school, and students in pre-K through 3rd grade have required temperature checks before entering the classroom. All students above the 3rd grade are also required to wear face coverings in compliance with the executive order issued by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
On Sunday, November 8th, Texas state health officials reported 5,404 new coronavirus cases. El Paso has also seen a surge in recent cases, making up almost 2,000 of the reported cases on Sunday. According to data from the Johns Hopkins University, Texas is nearing 1 million cases since the beginning of the pandemic, putting the total number of cases over 985,000. The Texas Department of State Health Services revealed that as of Sunday, with 43 additional reported deaths, Texas's death toll was at 18,743. With the significant rises of cases in El Paso, the county's top elected official chose to shut down non-essential activities and bring in medical teams for assistance. The Food and Drug Administration has given another possible COVID-19 vaccine fast-track designation. The vaccine produced by Novavax will begin Phase 3 clinical trials by the end of November. Fast-track designations means that it could get regulatory approval or emergency use authorization faster than normal. The The federal government's Operation Warp Speed is giving Novavax $1.6 billion to run clinical trials. The company's vaccine is made by growing synthetic versions of the coronavirus spike protein in moth cells. A plant-based compound that boosts immune response to the vaccine is also added. The vaccine joins 4 others that have been fast-tracked. Coming up, we have the winner of the 2020 presidential election and more news from across the country. Don't go anywhere. This is our home. This is our studio, filled with empty seats and cameras waiting to press record again. With remote classes and the COVID-19 pandemic, it's hard not to feel like we've lost a community on campus. When we're not on campus, it's hard to feel home. But home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. And here at Tiger TV, we're bringing that feeling to you. Because while our studio is waiting for us, we haven't stopped bringing you the shows you need. Get involved with some of our diverse programming like Newswave, Studio 21, and The Not So Late Show. Tune in to our YouTube and Vimeo channels if you miss some of the quality campus television programming we make. Just because we're remote, that doesn't mean we're not still together. Because here, home is more than just a place. Home is Tiger TV. The presidential race has been called, and Joe Biden is the projected 46th president of the United States of America. Here's CNN with more.
Joe Biden proved the third time is the charm. After 2 failed bids for the presidency, Biden addressed the nation Saturday night for the first time as president-elect.
The people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris also spoke to the large, mostly masked crowd in Wilmington, Delaware, recognizing her role as the first female to be elected to that position.
While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Thousands of people took to the streets in major cities to celebrate Saturday, shortly after Biden was declared the winner.
We're seeing all over this nation, all cities and all parts of the country, indeed across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith.
As crowds continued celebrating late into the night, things remained largely peaceful. President Donald Trump, for his part, has still not conceded. Instead, his campaign has launched more legal challenges over his baseless claim of widespread fraud in the election. In Wilmington, Delaware, I'm Daryl Forges.
Alex Trebek, the host of the iconic trivia game show Jeopardy, died at the age of 80 after a difficult battle with pancreatic cancer. The Canadian-born Trebek had hosted Jeopardy since 1984. Trebek became known for his kindness and clever reactions to contestants' responses. Trebek won 5 Emmys for his time on Jeopardy, and he only missed 1 episode during the run of the show, when Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak replaced him in an April Fool's joke. Trebek will be sorely missed by his wife and 3 children, as well as the audiences around the world who became enamored with him and his show. A helicopter crash on top of a medical center in Los Angeles was caught on camera. Here's CNN with the details.
A frightened witness shot this video right before a private air ambulance crash landed on top of the Keck Hospital of USC this afternoon. The pilot and 2 others were on board when somehow the helicopter malfunctioned and made a hard landing above the 7th floor.
It was like a big bang. We all thought it was like an earthquake.
A hospital intern said the building shook and debris flew everywhere. The chopper landed on its side, pieces of the blades strewn about. Medics treated the 3 people aboard before they were taken to the hospital to get checked out.
Because I was inside the building working, and then once we heard everyone run out, when I went out and saw it, it was like people were saying, oh, like the helicopter, the blade of the helicopter was like coming down or something. I didn't see anything personally, but I know they're talking about debris flying from the air.
The pilot himself self-extricated from the wreckage, and he was transported to an area hospital with minor injuries. The other 2 passengers that were in the aircraft also self-extricated, and they're being treated here at the Keck Medical Center.
Hospital officials say the chopper was carrying a donated heart and that they were able to safely remove the organ and transplanted it to the person in need. No one on the ground was hurt, and the crash did not disrupt patient care. Staff say although shaken up, they're thankful it wasn't much worse.
I think it's a very frequent thing to have a helicopter come and deliver transplant items, but with something like this has never happened.
On a more positive note, our newest segment, COVID Hacks, has returned to provide us more tips and tricks for navigating schooling and social life during the pandemic.
Hi everyone, Allison here to deliver you more tips and tricks for living and learning during a pandemic. This week we will be doing 5 tips for staying productive during online schooling. Now, I know we're all sick and tired of Zoom University, but rest assured I've gathered some tips that I think you all will enjoy. Let's get going. Tip number 1, have a routine. You've probably heard this a million times, but I promise you it works. Having a daily routine that you stick to helps keep you active mentally and physically. Try to wake up at the same time every day and get ready as if you're heading off to school normally. I know it seems pointless to wear something nice to a Zoom call, but I promise you it will make you feel better and make you more productive for the rest of your day. Tip number 2, designate a specific area for schooling. You need to have a specific space set up for work that isn't the bed or the couch. While both of those areas are more comfortable, you need to have a space where you can focus and not think about relaxing or sleeping. Use a desk or even the kitchen table so that your mind knows that it needs to be working in those spaces. Tip number 3, try to get in one physical activity each day. Now that everything is virtual, it can be easy to get focused on work that you forget to move your body. Many health experts say that you'll focus better when you've taken a break from staring at the screens to go for a walk, run, or bike ride. Get out and enjoy the fresh air for at least 5 minutes so that your mind will feel more productive later. Tip number 4, set daily goals for coursework. It can be easy to get stuck working on one task for too long. Try to set coursework goals every day for each course. Doesn't need to be something big, but this will help you manage the workload, especially with final season coming up. Agree to only spend 40 minutes to an hour on one subject and then change it up. Even if you're not quite done with the other class, your brain will appreciate the subject change. And finally, for tip number 5, be sure to take breaks. Give your mind a rest from staring at the screen and go call a family member or chat with a friend. Pick an activity that you find relaxing and rejuvenating and try to avoid scrolling through social media during this time. Everyone needs a little you time every day. For a recap, we just delivered you 5 easy tips for staying productive during online schooling, including maintaining a routine, designating a specific area for studying, doing one physical activity each day, setting goals for coursework, and making sure to take breaks. More tips and tricks in the weeks to come right here on Newswave. I've been Allison Carr, urging you to stay safe and stay healthy.
Coming up, we have an update on Daniela John's apartment garden here on campus, right after this message.
We've all been there. Seeing people not follow the rules, watching some wayward citizen breaking the law. Well, not the law, but basically the law. Today, I'm going to show you how to be a COVID superhero. Okay, sound a little weird, but anyways, here are some things that you should watch out for. If you don't represent a household, then you must socially distance. Look at these guys over here. Caught you. I caught him. When you're indoors, you must always wear a mask. Flush, and I don't think she washed her hands. Remember, after using the restroom, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds or sanitize. Oh, hey! Oh, God! And finally, if you have any symptoms of COVID, but you're not really sure what it is, always make sure to stay home! And that's all, folks.
Daniela John is once again back at it with an update for her apartment garden. Take a look.
The best part of growing plants is being able to watch them grow and change. For example, we got a ZZ plant last year in a tiny plastic Trinity cup. Once planted in a bigger pot, the ZZ kept sprouting more and more leaves and is now a monster at about 2 feet tall and continues to unearth new sprouts. After I repotted this beautiful red coleus, it gained a green tinge and grew some purple flowers. A new sprout is also beginning to grow and change color, as well as these new tiny green leaves. This Chinese evergreen also is unraveling a new leaf at its center, and a sprout is slowly emerging out of the soil. Today, I recently discovered that my windowsill pothos is slowly growing and unraveling a new leaf at its center too. A month changes so much. As our younger succulents begin to grow, our older ones are beginning to lose their original leaf, fully demonstrating the wonder of plant life.
Well, that's all the time we have for Newswave this week. Make sure to tune into Newswave every Friday at 2:30 p.m. on our YouTube and Vimeo channels. I'm Devin Karp, and we'll see you right back here next week.